Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing happy, amazing and positive as always. So a lot of you who have come to my channel, who have found me, a lot of you have found me through the Turpin family case that I did like over a year ago now. I think it was like a year and a bit ago. This case was worldwide news. It was horrific. It was so tragic. And you know, you almost couldn't believe that things like this happen in real life. You'd think it only happens in movies. So I covered this case thinking we would never hear from the children again. I thought that this was one of those cases that, you know, the kids would move on with their lives and remain anonymous and get away from any of the sort of attention that this case would have brought upon them. And when I did cover this case, I tried my best to cover the identity of the kids because I wasn't sure whether they would want to be known. I didn't know if they wanted to be recognized or anything like that, and I didn't want to add to that. When I saw that two of the Turpin sisters did a 2020 interview with Diane Sawyer, I was genuinely shocked, but I was super excited to see how they were now, you know, what sort of has changed in their lives and how they've changed. So I thought before I watch it, I have not watched it yet, I've seen very small clips of it, but I thought I would film myself watching this, seeing as this was a case that was one of the most horrific cases that I've ever done on my channel. I thought I'd watch it with you guys. If you have not watched it yet, let's watch it together. But I will have the documentary linked down below. ABC News did actually post some of the interview, but they only posted 5 parts and not the rest. So I think there was like another half an hour that they didn't post. So I'll post down below. Someone has actually collected all the clips and put it into one video to make it easier for us. So I'll link that down below so you guys can watch the whole thing in its entirety. I'm gonna watch from that 1 hour video. Anyway, so I am too excited for this. I have my coffee here. I'm in my pajamas because I needed to be comfortable because I'm so excited to see how these girls are doing. They look happy, they look healthy, and I know there's going to be heartbreaking moments here, so I'm prepared for that. So let's watch this together and see what unfolds.
911, do you have an emergency? I just got away from home because we have abusing parents. My whole body was shaking.
Trying to save her 12 siblings from a house of horrors.
The only word I know to call it is hell.
Diane Sawyer, with a story of survival like you've never seen.
Every day did you wake up in terror?
For the first time anywhere, the raw police body cam footage. Inside the house in real time. And the secret recordings the children made on a camera hidden in a Barbie doll. And the superstar who never knew he inspired them to break free.
I started realizing that there is a different world out there.
Now, 2 sisters who risked their lives to save them all and move from terror to triumph.
A security camera is rolling in a quiet suburban California neighborhood. At the house across the street, in the shadows, someone quietly opens a window and slips out. Watch, there. A blurry figure stepping forward, a small, uncertain girl, heading one way. Then she turns, hesitates, and starts to run. Clutching an old cell phone.
That was my only chance. At least if something happened to me, at least I died trying. 911 emergency, what are you reporting?
Help.
This is 911, do you have an emergency?
I just ran away from home.
Do you know what street you're on?
No. I just ran away from home because I lived in a family of 15.
That bit always gets me because she didn't even know what street she was on. She didn't know her surrounding streets. She didn't know her address. She didn't know how to even talk to this operator. And it just goes to show how much they were just hidden away from the world. And I just want to give that little girl a hug.
Okay. Can you hear me? And we have abusing parents. Did you hear that?
Okay, how did they abuse you?
Okay. They hit us, they throw us across, they like to throw us across the room. They pull our hair, they yank out our hair. My 2 little sisters right now are chained up.
Okay, how old are you?
I'm 17.
What's your name?
That also, when she's like, I'm 17, if you didn't know how old this girl was, you would literally think she was like 7, 8 years old. She does not sound like a 17-year-old girl. And obviously that's because they weren't properly schooled, they weren't properly educated, they weren't out in the real world, they'd never interacted with other kids. So that is why she sounds so young.
Mama, don't hang up.
I won't.
Nearly 4 years later, this is Jordan Turpin, remembering that night.
My whole body was shaking, and when I was holding the phone, I remember the phone was like, I couldn't really dial 911 because, I'm sorry.
Shaking.
Yeah, I was shaking, and so I was trying like to dial 911, but I couldn't even get my thumb to press the buttons because I was shaking so bad. But I was like trying to like calm down. Thank you so much.
I couldn't even imagine coming out of that house and the first kind of interaction you would have to have was with a 911 call operator. I think what we've got to realize is that calling 911, or in my country it's 000, that's already daunting in itself. Being a person who does get out and about and has been educated and all that kind of thing. Imagine this girl who had no interaction with anyone else, didn't know the serious nature of like police officers and that whole kind of thing, you know, like having to first do that. I can totally get as to how she could have been so scared and how she would have been so shaky, because that would have been so daunting. And she's escaped. She could get caught at any minute. She needs to get her siblings out before the parents or those evil people do anything further to punish the kids because Jordan's escaped. So there's so many things that would have been running through her head in that moment.
I was trying to like calm down so I could to do it, and then I finally like pressed it, and when they answered, I literally never talked to somebody on the phone.
Firstly, can I just say, how beautiful is Jordan? Oh my goodness, she is so stunning. She looks so healthy. Her makeup is done beautifully. She's dressed so beautifully. And I love that she's able to embrace that part of her, because if she hadn't escaped that day, she'd probably still be in that house.
What's your address?
Okay, you guys, give me a minute. It's going to take a while. I've never been out. I don't go out much, so I don't know anything about the streets or anything.
The dispatcher tracks her location from the GPS on her cell phone and sends out a request for a police officer.
And I was freaking out because I was like, wait, are they going to take me back there? Like, I was so scared in that moment. I was actually on the road because I didn't even know about the sidewalk. You're supposed to be on the sidewalk, but I never been out there.
The caller tries to find her house address on a piece of envelope she stuffed in her backpack.
My address is 92570. 574. Did you get it?
Okay, so now you just gave me a whole bunch of numbers. You didn't give me any kind of street name there.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Those are the numbers on my house.
That's your zip code. The numbers on your house should only be 3 digits.
Finally, she reads the correct address, but is panicking, not knowing whether her parents can look out a window and see her.
Are you in a corner right now?
I might be.
Is there a street sign? Is there a pole with 2 names at the top?
I just see a stop sign.
Okay, can you go over and stand right at that stop sign?
Yes.
And then eventually I saw a stop sign, and I stood by the stop sign, and she told me to stay there. And I was like, I'm scared they're going to come. Like, I wanted to leave. I was so terrified because I know the way they were. they wouldn't care if they knew police were coming. They would just kill me right there and there if they realized that, especially if they knew I was on the phone with the police.
But she tries to remain.
That's crazy that she said that they would have killed her right then and there if they knew the police were coming. These people just did not care, did they? I don't know what kind of satisfaction these people got by treating their own kids like this, but that is messed up. And also, I just want to add that Jordan is so well spoken. It's amazing to see. Like, she's just so articulate now, and she enunciates her words very well. And I love that. I love that she's grown and evolved so much.
The reason I ran away from home was because chains were making places, and they would wake up at night and they would start crying, and they wanted me to call somebody and tell them. And so I wanted to call y'all so y'all can help my sister.
Do you think anybody in the house will need to go to the hospital?
I'm not sure. Sometimes we live in stilts, and sometimes I wake up and I can't breathe because how dirty the house is. We never take baths.
When was the last time you had a bath?
What?
When was the last time you had a bath?
Almost a year ago.
I had to make sure that if I left, we wouldn't go back and we would get the help we needed, because if we went back, there's no way I would be sitting here right now.
I don't know how you had the courage, never having spoken to anyone like that.
I think it was like us coming so close to death so many times, and like I was worried about my siblings, and when I saw them crying and worried, I just felt like I had to do it. Like I would just wanted to do it. I wanted to help everyone.
Do you know if your parents keep any kind of weapons in the house?
I think that my father has a gun.
Have you seen the guns?
No, but they've talked about it.
The dispatcher knows if this girl with the strange cadences and vocabulary hangs up or the call drops, there's no way to get her back. Her old phone has been disabled. It can only call out to 911. So the dispatcher tries to keep her talking.
Do you know what your dad's name is?
He's Turpin. I don't know much about my mother. He doesn't spend time with us ever.
Does anybody at the house take any kind of medication?
Oh, I don't know what medication is.
Any medicine?
When we have a cold, sometimes we take replication.
At incredible speed, the girl rattles off the names and ages of each sibling. Their names have been redacted.
He's 2. He's 11, 12, 14, 16. I'm 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 20, I think 5, 29.
The deputy is now just 7 minutes away.
I just want to stay on the phone with you. How did you get this phone that you have?
It was a phone that my brother had that he was going to throw away, and I had to have a way to contact somebody like you. So I got it so I could call 911.
And you guys don't have any friends or anybody who comes over to the house?
Hi. Okay.
Is that the deputy?
Okay. Yes.
Go talk to him, okay?
Yes.
All right, bye-bye.
It's that moment when she says hi, right? It's just a 2-letter word, but she sounds so relieved. It's just that moment where you just see that glimmer of hope, that light at the end of the tunnel, that someone is here. Someone is going to rescue my siblings. She's done it, you know, and that is so courageous of this young girl to do something like this. Like Diane Sawyer said, so courageous.
Hi, Jordan.
You're looking at the body camera footage from the deputy as he arrives.
Hi, what's going on?
Moving into frame, the skittish girl who has to convince this stranger her story is real.
I was so nervous because I've never had like a conversation with a stranger before. And so I saw him and he was so serious. And he was tall, and I've never talked to a stranger. I was so like scared. I didn't know what he was thinking because he had just one straight face.
You didn't know if he believed you or not?
Right. He was like, "Do you have any proof of any of this?" And I was like, "Yes."
Hi, what's going on?
Okay. I just ran away from home.
Okay.
And I live in a family of 15.
Okay.
My 2 little sisters right now are chained up.
They're chained up?
Yes,
Where are they chained up at?
on their bed. Now, Mother didn't chain them up just to be mean.
Okay. They're chained up because they stole mother's food.
Uh-huh.
But I'm sorry if I talk too much. Okay. I've never talked to anybody out there, so I've never been alone with a person, so this is very hard for me to talk. Okay.
How did do your parents know you left your house?
No, they don't.
You can tell the deputy is a bit like, okay, this sounds a little crazy. Like, what do you mean you've never been alone with someone? Like, what? You can tell that he's a little bit hesitant to believe her. And of course you would, right? You would never believe that this is something that is like actually happening. You would never be able to fathom or wrap your head around that. So I can understand the deputy's kind of hesitation.
Sure.
Do you take any medication?
What's medication?
Medication?
Yeah, what's medication?
Do you take pills? Do you take pills?
Oh, I don't think I've ever taken a pill before.
Okay.
Right, I haven't. But
The girl with the strange vocabulary nervously puts on a little hat, a reminder of one of her sisters who's depending on her.
our parents are abusing. They abuse us. But the reason I called and the reason I managed to get out here, this is one of the most scariest things I've ever done.
Uh-huh.
I'm terrified. But I called because my two little sisters, they're chained up right now.
The deputy, a 9-year veteran of the force, is not sure what to make of this 17-year-old girl who looks so much younger. He is ending a graveyard shift. He responded to the runaway call because he knows how they usually end. You take the kids back home to reconcile with their parents.
I decided to take it, thinking, hey, this might be a good way just to end my shift.
And then, on instinct, he asks a question.
Do you have pictures of that?
Yes, I can show you. I actually didn't have it, and then one of my sisters told me I need to get pictures.
Do you have pictures of your sisters chained up?
You know what? She is doing so well communicating. Like, I know she would have been so scared and nervous, but she's doing so well. For someone who has never spoken to a stranger, let alone a cop, she is doing amazingly well.
I don't have proof of everything, but I have proof that my sisters are chained up. So, see?
She doesn't seem to know the word bruised.
Here, you can look at that. See, those are the places that make it on that. And see how dirty she is? We're so filthy. We don't take baths. We don't.
How did your sisters get like this?
Okay.
Your parents chained them up?
Yes, because they stole food.
Okay.
But they stole it because they were hungry.
Who took this picture?
I did. I took those pictures.
Okay. You make sure to save these, okay?
Okay, I will.
Don't get rid of those.
I will. I won't.
They looked very, very sad, malnourished. They were very pale.
This is that deputy, Anthony Kalachi.
Once I saw that photo, it really sealed the deal for me.
Kalachi knows this girl is not your usual runaway. She has identified a possible crime in progress, and her parents could be trying to find her.
Can you do me a favor? Take a seat in the back of my car?
Okay.
Do you have any injuries?
What's injuries?
Are you hurt?
Oh, no, not right now.
My heart physically hurts when you hear her say, like, what's injuries, what's medication.
Kalachi radios in for backup.
One pair is 32. Can I have 1110?
With his body cam running, he gathers more facts, trying to piece this story together.
What are your parents going to do when they find out you left?
They're going to want to literally kill me.
What's the worst thing they've done to you?
They have choked me against the bed, and
Did you call the police?
I didn't have a way to get it home yet. This is the first chance I got. Oh, my brother should be out too.
They're chained up?
One of my brothers is chained up. So 3 people are chained up right now.
What does your mom do?
Nothing. She just stays at home. But she's always gone.
Well, why don't you guys just leave the house?
Because we're terrified. We don't really have a way. Everyone's always looking. There's always somebody.
The deputies say, well, why didn't you just leave? That shows how much you wouldn't expect these kids to be going through what they're going through. Like, you would think that, oh, it's bad, but they can just walk out the door. Like, why don't they just run away? But it was so much worse than what the deputy had in mind. Like, I don't think anyone in that moment would understand the severity and the how horrific this situation actually was, that they couldn't just walk out whenever they wanted. It was actually life-threatening if they were even to think about leaving.
I asked her what her middle name was. She said it was Elizabeth. I asked her to spell it. She couldn't spell it. I wanted her to know people on the outside are loving and caring.
He notices a video on her cell phone. She's singing. He asks to watch it.
You ready for everything? I don't understand.
This is a great video and you're a beautiful singer.
Daylight arches over a pleasant suburban neighborhood. It's Sunday. Most residents are still asleep. It has been an hour and a half since Jordan Turpin climbed out the window.
This is another thing that always gets me, is how just normal suburban it looks. Like, it literally looks like where I live, you know? It looks like normal houses, beautiful houses, I must add. Beautiful lawns. Like, look at the lawn, how beautifully cut it is. You know, some people have like solar lights, solar panels on their roofs. Would you ever think something like this is actually happening in a place like this? You know, you'd imagine it to look really run down and almost like a home where like someone's squatting, you know, but this is just a normal cookie cutter type of neighborhood. And I couldn't even imagine if something like this was happening in my neighborhood. I would literally like projectile vomit. Like, I wouldn't even know how to deal with that.
So they was like, if we walk in, will they still be chained? And I was like, if they didn't notice me missing yet, yes. But if they notice me missing, they're gonna try to cover that all up. And they asked me if I wanted to come up, and I was freaking out. I was like, no, no, no. Like, honestly, I thought, like, knowing them, what if they killed me right there and there, even if the police were there?
Saying doing a welfare check? Yeah.
Since a child may be in danger, the deputies do not need a warrant to enter the house. They knock for 2 minutes and 10 seconds.
You're obviously not opening.
I wonder why it took them so long to open it. Like, were they sleeping? Were they trying to see who it was? I reckon they were trying to see who it was. Like, who's knocking at my door at 7:30 in the morning?
Then, suddenly, the door cracks open.
Hi. Hi.
A mother and father appear.
How you guys doing?
Good.
We got a call for a check the welfare here at your house.
They are breathing heavily.
Yeah, why?
You guys have kids in the house?
Yes. Okay, what kind of car did you get?
How you doing, sir? I'm doing good. Okay.
We were just in bed. I mean, like...
I hate their faces. I hate their faces. That man, like, look at him. He knows. He's like, oh, that's it. We're caught. She looks like, oh, we're fine. Like, we're not doing anything. We're just in bed chilling. She knows deep down, like, this is it. Even just the way that their house looked would be enough to get those kids taken away. Like, inside the house, I mean.
Sealed a chamber of horrors for almost 30 years. Now watch as deputies start to make their way through the door.
Well, we're gonna come in and check, okay?
And in one of the rooms inside the house, someone is waiting in her bed, eyes wide open, praying that the knock on the door means her sister made it to freedom.
Knock, knock, knock. And I'm like... And then they said it's the police. And I'm like... This is it.
It's been 4 years since the day in January 2018 when they were rescued, treated at a hospital, and given new life. Jordan Turpin, now 21 years old. Her sister, who helped plan the escape, the oldest Turpin child, Jennifer, now 33.
How are you?
Awesome. I'm doing really good.
January 14th, 2018.
Yeah. Big day.
I'm literally crying because it makes me so happy to see how much these girls are smiling now. You know, they got their hair dyed, they got their lipstick on. It's just, they look healthy, and that is just so nice to see.
What's the first thing you did that you look back on and think, that was my first moment of real freedom?
Actually, being in the hospital, when music was playing, I got up. And I made sure there's a little bit of a floor cleared out, and I danced.
The first place we went to a park with two of my sisters, and I was so excited because I could smell the air, I could smell the grass. I was like, how could heaven be better than this? Oh my gosh, this is so free, like, this is life.
How could heaven be better than this? Oh my gosh.
But respecting the privacy of the siblings they love, and the stories written on all their bodies when they arrived at the hospital, where doctors and nurses wept at what they saw. Children so emaciated they had difficulty walking, stunted growth, heart damage from a lack of nutrients, a preteen whose arm was the size of a 4-month-old baby, their speech, their language limited by the isolation and neglect.
All of us went through a lot, and all of us went through our own things. And to be honest, not even all of us know every single thing each one of us went through.
Exactly. And nothing's ever going to be that bad. And nothing's going to be as bad as 29 years in what the only word I know to call it is hell.
A hell created by her own parents, who started out 2 kids growing up in a small town in West Virginia. David Turpin, by all accounts, a nerdy boy with bowl-cut hair and a shy stutter.
I'm just going to forward this part because I really don't care to know anything about these horrific piece of craps.
They tell family God has called on them to have as many children as they can. He is 26, she's 20 when they have their first little girl. There's Jennifer. You can see her smile is so much like the smile of the mother she once loved.
My first memory, I was about 2 years old, and it wasn't to me.
What was it?
I went downstairs for a glass of water, for a cup of water, and on the stairs, I saw my father yelling very loudly at my mother. My mother was crying. She started to say something. He's like, "No, you shut up." And he took his fist and punched it in the wall, made a hole in the wall. I was terrified.
As her father yells in anger, she says her loving mother heads into unpredictable mood swings.
It was like I never knew which side I was going to get of her if I was going to ask her a question. Like, she gonna call me stupid or something. But anyway, and then, or like, yank me across the floor, or is she gonna be nice and answer my question?
You should never have to wonder how your parents are gonna react to something that you have to say. Living in fear like that, even just that alone, that is a very tense environment to be raised in.
I remember wanting to make friends. I remember a lot of them didn't want to be my friend, didn't really understand why. They called me skinny bones and acted like they didn't want to be around me.
Kids can be so cruel. I hope that this is not what they thought of the world. I hope that this is not how they kind of viewed people to be.
I probably smelled, but I didn't realize at the time I smelled. But that stench clings to you. It stays with you because we would literally live in houses piled with trash. And I mean literally piled with trash. Mold and everything. And there's no good way to get rid of a smell like that.
Is it possible that some of her teachers noticed something? Years later, there are no records from the school. But after the 3rd grade, Jennifer's parents take her out and no Turpin child will go to grade school again.
That's what makes me like question things. Like when you see a student who is so skinny, wouldn't you try to do something to see what's going on, to try to talk to the kid, to try to, you know, find out why this child is skinnier than the rest or doesn't look like the rest? And she's saying the stench was so bad, the smell was so bad, as if the teacher didn't have an awareness about that. This is literally like the kinds of things that you should be looking out for as a teacher. Abnormalities, things that aren't normal or they seem very unusual. I don't know if that was even a thought in the teacher's mind or if the teacher was completely like oblivious to this.
Family moves into an isolated house in rural Texas. David Turpin commutes to Lockheed Martin. They pose for photographs to send home to family. As 4 kids become 9, 9 become 12. But when they go back to the house, the children are not allowed outside. All of them taught to honor thy father and mother, and only to call them that.
I'm gonna call them mother and father for the sake of the interview, but I don't like calling them that because they're not that to me. They literally use the Bible to explain their behavior toward us.
What parts of the Bible?
They love to point out things in Deuteronomy, saying that we have the right to do this to you, that they had the right to even kill us if we didn't listen.
Disobey mother, talk back, steal a piece of candy, you can be thrown across the room, pushed down the stairs. Father also used belts and sticks and eventually dog kennels with padlocks and homemade cages.
A dog kennel. Who even thinks of these things? It's like they literally sat down and like brainstormed ways of torturing and punishing their kids.
I was afraid to do one little thing wrong. If I did one little thing wrong, I was going to be beaten, and not just beat, like beat till I bled.
Are you okay? You want to take a minute?
I want to take a break. Yeah, a little break. I'm sorry.
Let's do. We'll just take a break here.
Oh, just that like sadness in her eyes just talking about this. Oh, I literally have chills. You can just see how much it still hurts her, you know. And this is the type of thing that will either take years and years of healing, or you just will never be truly fully healed from this.
It's not a choice if survival is
The answer. Living in that, you kind of feel like you're torn. You don't know what to do. Because I was on the brink of suicide. I wanted to just end it all my pain, everything.
3 years go by, and no one seems to notice them. No one intervenes. But after the Turpin story breaks, a little boy remembers he once had a classmate in Fort Worth named Jennifer Turpin.
This is one thing that is so important. Like, we have to be observant, and I will say this continuously. I've gotten a lot of hate for it as well, because people genuinely believe that you should just mind your own business, but it's important to be observant. Like, if we were just a little bit more observant, we would notice things that seemed a little bit off, even just a little bit. Our instincts are a great tool for things like this, and I think it's important to follow that instinct. I'm not saying sit there with a pair of binoculars and watch what your neighbors are doing. Just notice when things aren't right.
A frail girl with a brave smile. He has since become a doctor. He wrote this plea on Facebook. Jennifer Turpin was the one girl nobody wanted to be caught talking to. I can't help but feel an overwhelming sense of guilt and shame. The person who sat across from you at the lunch table went home to squalor and filth, while you went home to a warm meal and a bedtime story. The resounding lesson: teach your children to be nice. Befriend the Jennifer Turpins of the world. In a Las Vegas chapel, a middle-aged couple is renewing their vow. Chapel is filming the occasion. And while their children were starving in that Texas trailer,
I love that song. Now it's just been ruined.
there's Jennifer, the oldest. There's Jordan, the eighth. Children with rail-thin arms and awkward dancing.
These outfits always gave me weird cultish vibes. I don't think the kids chose those outfits, but it always seemed really weird to me, these dresses.
So these are the pictures that we saw.
That moment, of course, we're happy to be out doing something. At the same time, I know inside I was like, this is all a mask. This is all fake. We're not this big happy family that they always portray to everyone. And that always bothered me, and there's like a mix of things in that moment.
Do you see the way Jordan looked at her sister when they saw that photo? Like, there were probably so many words unspoken in that moment, like sister to sister. That was like heartbreaking. Even when you see like the image of them like laughing and smiling, they don't look like genuinely happy, like radiating happiness. They're just sort of smiling along, like she said, a mask.
Get us all dressed, we would get clean, and then we would go out, and it would be like the best day ever. We were so happy, all of us.
in love with you.
But then when we would come back, it was just like put on the same dirty clothes and sit back to where, and I used to always wonder, like,
look how dirty their clothes are. Oh my gosh.
Why couldn't we just be a family like that all the time?
The family now lives under one roof in Paris, California, a suburb of Spanish-style homes, flowers by the door. David Turpin has a new job as an engineer.
This house doesn't look eerily similar to the Chris Watts house. Like, I don't know, I just had to kind of mention that. I don't know if it's like an American thing where a lot of the houses look the same. But this particular house, I don't know why, just gave me like Chris Watts vibes.
He also has a new Mustang. On another car, a vanity plate. David and Louise forever. But behind the closed door of this house in the suburbs, Louise Turpin seems to have a manic pattern of shopping sprees, racking up huge credit card debts with her childlike obsession with buying children's clothes, toys, games she hoards.
So she can easily hoard these games, not allow their kids to play with them. Look, they're still in their boxes. You know, they don't look like they've been touched, which they weren't touched from what I've read. A lot of the toys weren't touched, but she can't feed her kids. The six grand was on that invoice. She couldn't spend that to feed her kids. Are you kidding me?
Children are not allowed to touch mother's toys unless she gives permission. This is a video made in the house of one of the children's closets. Brand new clothes with price tags on them, while the children remain dressed in filth.
They would buy literally so many expensive clothes and toys and stuff that they wasn't ever going to use. About 100 different collector monopolies and stuff like that.
At this point, David Turpin files for bankruptcy. They decide the children will have to economize.
So every day it was bread and peanut butter?
Mostly. Very occasionally, we would get like food frozen or maybe fast food place.
So what did your mother and father eat?
Oh, they always ate fast food, frozen meals. They had the good stuff, and I was the one usually preparing it.
A video of the Turpin refrigerator, stocked with items the parents eat.
What did they say to you about eating what they wanted?
They blamed it on us. They said they couldn't afford it because we were stealing.
Oh my God. This gets me all the time. They're eating these beautiful foods that any child would be like frothing over. And they said that they can't afford it. I'm sorry, if you are a parent, you take the food out of your own mouth to feed your kid, or you share it with your kids. You don't just sit there teasing them and then just going, oh, we can't afford you guys. If God told you to have as many kids as possible, why are you not taking care of them?
And by stealing, you're talking about food?
Yeah, we had a weird schedule. Most of the time we were up at night and then sleeping in the day.
And the blinds were closed, so the neighbors couldn't see.
We wasn't allowed to look out or open them. We wasn't even allowed to stand up. We were supposed to be sitting down all the time.
Later, police find a video of the hungry, unbathed children hiding from view in a hallway. Their father, en route to his job, smiles. Jordan is filming this. It's a little camera she found on her Barbie doll. You can see the camera there on the Barbie's neck, the record button on her little belt. So take a look at this scene again.
That bothers me because I know some neighbors knew things were going on. So I wish they did something, like just have somebody look into it.
That part. That's what I'm saying. If you've seen something, why have you not looked into it? There was this one person that gave me so much crap on my last video about, you know, this man seeing the kids walking back and forth. Like, why wouldn't you have done something? You've seen weird behavior in the middle of the night. Why didn't you do anything? People were saying to me, you wouldn't have done anything, blah, blah, blah. Man, the amount of times I've looked into things that have not looked right in my neighborhood, you've got to be vigilant, especially when it involves kids, you know. There are people out there that wouldn't do anything, but there are people out there that would. And if they had just been seen by the right individual early on, then this could have been prevented from going any further than it did.
And why did the California school system never check up on a homeschool called the Sandcastle Day School? These are documents filed by David Turpin, who proclaims himself principal. Louise is the teacher.
A lot of child abuse gets reported through our schools. Teachers and school administrators are mandated reporters. So, if a child comes to school with bruises or emaciated, that is a very common way that it gets reported. In this case, the Turpin family claimed that they were homeschooling their kids. They weren't. They used the homeschooling system as a way to avoid any scrutiny.
And when mother and father are out of the house, the little prisoners emerge.
When mother was gone or father was gone, we would sneak and talk. And sometimes we would open the window and we would stick our head out.
They listen to music. There's a TV to watch. A few trusted older siblings now have smartphones so that mother and father can always reach them with instructions. They take videos of the food they hide in their beds. And most of all, these children are so desperate for an education, they try to teach each other language and what it is to be human.
You taught each other what you knew.
We just did the best we could with what we did know.
I knew the whole alphabet, but I had my sisters help me with that. They taught me the I, E, I,
The vowels.
Yeah, the vowels.
The children are told not to speak to strangers when they're taken out on rare occasions, to get those posed photographs. And again, that video in Las Vegas. Would you have spotted any fear in their faces? They've been told one mistake and something called Child Protective Services could come and separate them forever.
I thought that we would all go in different countries, and I thought that we would never see each other again, and I thought that we would be put into cages and they would starve us, and then as soon as we turn 18, just throw us out on the street.
That makes me so sad, the fear in them to ever get separated, the bond that they all share with each other, that was enough for them to stay and not say anything or act strangely where people would be suspicious. They did that for each other. That's just breaks my heart.
Mother usually spoke for us.
We were also instructed on certain questions that may be asked of us, if they say what grade you're in, you tell them this. There'd be times I'd be like, wait, what grade am I supposed to be in?
I know, me too. I'd be I would go to one of my
sisters. Memorize 6, 7, 8. I know. If I'm 8 and I'm supposed to be in 3rd grade, 9.
Yeah.
Never underestimate the power and reach of a teenage heartthrob to enchant a 14-year-old fan, even one trapped in a cruel prison.
I started realizing that there is a different world out there. I only knew one world, and that was always being there. I was just blown-minded by how different it is out there, and I was always I want to be out there. I want to be like that. I want to experience that. I want to do that.
In Bieber's videos, the houses are nice. He has friends, and he talks about being sad and searching for God and comfort, just like her. She says she loved learning new words from him for her stunted vocabulary.
I watched all his interviews, and it's actually watching him that made me learn fast, smarter, because I started paying attention.
Justin Bieber has got to come and meet these kids. Seriously, if he was such a massive part in this, I feel he should come and surprise them. You should come say hi. I feel that would be just the icing on the cake for everything.
Happy kids in pretty dresses. So far away from her life. She had tried to make a pretty dress with old paper she found around the house.
But yeah, High School Musical and all those other Disney channels and stuff, Hannah Montana, those movies when their daughter would feel they could talk to their mom. And we'd be oh my gosh, if I did that, there's no way, but it's it's just always is that really how it is in real life? I wanted to get that phone and somehow get social media and then start talking to other people, because I've never talked to strangers before.
You blame me for everything, for what to say. You blame me for everything.
When mother and father would leave, that's when I would sneak in the bathroom and I would make my videos and put them out and I was hoping like if I made those videos, then people might follow me on social media, and some did.
A stranger writes, asking why she's always inside and up at night.
He kind of just realized that I was always in my room, and then he started asking questions, and I told him how we eat and how we're not allowed to get out of bed. He was like, this isn't right, you should call the cops. Like, I was so happy to hear him say that.
Like some stranger on the internet realized that, and there's neighbors that saw weird behavior and didn't do anything. Like, you know, that's crazy to me.
I was right. I was right that the situation was so bad.
And one day, Jordan is caught secretly watching a Justin Bieber video.
Mother, she choked me, and I thought I was going to die that day. And after that whole day happened, I kept having nightmares that she was killing me.
What Jordan Turpin knows is that the moment has arrived. You either crack or you decide to fight.
I kept having nightmares that I was dying, and when I woke up, I was crying so hard. And that day was when I was like, I told my two sisters, I'm gonna leave.
She thinks the road out may be there or there. It's hard to be sure. In a dark room, Jordan films a phone call with another sister who asks a taxi company how much it would cost to take someone out of California to Nevada.
How much would it cost? A couple hundred? I'm not going. I'll take a bus.
Did your parents know you had the phones?
No, they didn't.
Since a taxi costs too much, Jordan remembers something she's seen on a TV show called Cops.
I got those photos because I knew that I would need proof of that.
Get pictures, anything to prove, so they can't think you're just a teenager looking for attention.
Two of Jordan's little sisters have now been chained to their beds in the room they all share. They were caught stealing Mother's candy. She cannot bear their cries at night. Photos of them would be proof.
I asked them permission before taking it, and they said yes.
She asked the permission. Like, even just that, she's so sweet.
So they knew why I was taking the picture, and they knew what it was for. And they let me.
And then on January 14th, 2018, the signal that time has run out. Jordan hears Mother say the family is moving to Oklahoma, and everyone is getting chained.
The very next day, we were moving. It was literally a now or never.
Everyone's getting chained. I knew I had to leave that night. That was my only chance. At least if something happened to me, at least I died trying. Because if we went to Oklahoma, there was a big chance that some of us would have died.
I honestly don't know that at least one, maybe two of them would have survived the trip. They were in such horrible decline and on the edge of starvation.
So I started grabbing my bags, and I put on like some clothes, clean clothes, so I wouldn't like smell or anything.
She puts pillows under a blanket to look like her in case her parents peek into the bedroom. She climbs up on the windowsill and drops down. There she is again, in that security camera footage, starting to run.
I could barely walk. My legs were shaking, everywhere was shaking. I was so scared.
And something she didn't know at the time, there, in the shadows, someone else is slipping out the window and running in the opposite direction. It's her sister who can't find Jordan, and then slowly makes her way back. You can see that too on the security camera footage. While somewhere in the darkness, Jordan is making the life-saving call.
911, what's your name?
Jordan Turpin.
I was trying to dial 911, but I couldn't even get my thumb to press the buttons because I was shaking so bad.
My two little sisters right now are chained up. They will wake up at night and they will start crying. And they wanted me to call somebody and tell them.
The deputy who arrives is so intuitive. He asks that critical question, and she is ready.
You have pictures of your sisters chained up?
Yes, I don't have proof of everything, but I have proof that my sisters are chained up.
Who took this picture?
13. I did. I took those pictures.
Reinforcements arrive. Riverside County deputies walk up to the door. No idea what they'll find on the other side. This is body camera footage of the police officers knocking on and off for 2 minutes and 10 seconds.
You're obviously not open.
Suddenly, the door cracks open.
Hi. Hi, sorry to bug you.
How you guys doing?
Good.
We got a call for a check the welfare here at your house. So,
For what?
check the welfare. So just basically check on everybody, make sure everybody's okay.
You can see in the parents' eyes, they're like, who would have made that call? Who ratted us out? Was it someone in their neighbors? Like, who could have possibly done this? Because they seem very unaware that Jordan is not at home. They think that, I feel like they think that she's still in her room or something. But yeah, you can see them pretty much pooping themselves.
Yeah, why?
You guys have kids in the house?
Yes.
We now know they had been scrambling to have someone unlock the chains.
Okay, do you mind if we come in and just take a look, make sure everybody's safe and everything's okay?
Okay, what kind of call did you get?
Well, we got a call that there was a young female walking around saying that she came from a house over here. And we were able to find out that this was a house, and we just wanted to check and make sure everybody's okay.
Think she came from here?
That's what she said.
From inside this house?
I think so. Otherwise, we wouldn't be knocking on your door
Did
at
she say her
Sunday.
name?
I don't know. Did she say her name?
I don't know offhand, but we need to check.
We just need to check and make sure everybody's okay.
Once we get in, make sure everything's okay, we'll get out of here.
The cops would have known her name, and I'm so glad they didn't say anything, because I feel like they would have known that this child would have been in a lot of danger if they had said, oh, it was X who made this call. So you can tell this mum is like, who called? I want to know what's going on. Who's getting in trouble? In her head, she's like, I'm going to freaking kill whoever's done this.
We're packing.
Okay,
We're getting
that's
ready
fine,
to
that's
move.
No worries.
So it's a mess in here. So
All right, that's right.
We don't mind messes. We've been in.
It's a mess in here. So she knows it's messy. It's not like she's oblivious. This is how they live. You know what I mean? And if you've got to apologize for the mess, you know it's messy. You know it's gross. So why not clean it up?
I mean,
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing okay.
Okay.
No weapons in the house or anything like that.
I do have a gun that's it's locked up.
Okay, locked up is good. We like that.
Did you notice how Louise was like, no, when the cops asked if they have any weapons? She said no, she walked in. And then David was like, oh, but I do have a gun. Like, as if Louise wasn't like, yeah, we do have a gun, actually, but it's locked up. Like, you know, there's two different accounts, two different stories.
Okay, well, we're going to come in and check, okay? We just want to make sure everybody's okay.
Do you have a search warrant or anything? Or
No.
you don't need one, sir?
The deputies move through the door. As sheriff's deputies move through a door into a horrifying landscape, the windows are closed. The room is swelteringly hot, magnifying the stench of excrement, decaying garbage, mounds of mothers molding food.
And first of all, if you're moving, who packs like that? She's like, we're moving, we're packing. Who packs like that? That's not a normal way to pack up your things. You'd be seeing things in boxes sort of lined up, stacked on top of each other, not just piles of things and then the smell of feces. You know?
Every sofa counter floor covered in layers of trash and unopened toys.
Hi, kids. Hello, it's okay.
Louise Turpin quickly tries to follow the deputies.
All right, stay there for me for now.
An officer distracts David Turpin with topic after topic.
Okay, well, what's your name, sir?
David.
Where are you guys planning on moving to? Anything
No,
like that?
my job's moving.
Oh, okay.
Louise Turpin is directed to go back to the front door.
Why don't you stay over here with my partner, okay?
A pale, emaciated child moves through the living room, her clothes dirty, so is her hair.
Oh, okay. What do you do for work?
I'm an engineer.
Oh my God, I'm shaking. I feel like I'm watching this in real time. Like, I'm shaking.
Louise Turpin nervously probes again.
you got a call?
Yeah, we got a call from, I'm not sure if it was the young girl that left or if it was a neighbor that saw her walking around the street. So we'll get to the bottom of it. As soon as we make sure everybody's okay, then we'll decide, we'll figure out if maybe she was one of your kids that wandered away. How many kids do you have?
13.
13 total?
Yeah.
Woo! You guys are busy.
Yeah.
As the parents are talking, deputies head into the center of the house. There's a hallway. They pass the parents' bedroom, then down the hall, 2 other bedrooms. The deputy looks in the first door and discovers a crushing scene. Those 2 young girls from their sister's photos. One is on a bed, the other a mattress on the floor. They are limp, frail, eerily quiet, caked in dirt. Their arms are bruised, but where are the chains?
Hi, sweetheart. Hi, girls. Can I see your wrist? Yeah.
Which one? No.
Okay.
She goes, there's two.
Hi, how old are you?
Next, the deputy heads to the bedroom next door. 2 filthy bunk beds, but no child is chained. He pleads with the children. Can they tell him where are those chains?
Okay, thank you. We're here to help you, okay? Just work with my guys. We will help you guys, okay?
Back at the front doorway, the deputy who's been talking to the parents notices something. Almost obscured by the 6'1" David Turpin and the pile of boxes to his right.
Another bedroom back here. You got another couple kiddos asleep there? Yeah. Sarge, you got another room in the front right here with 2 kiddos in the bed. Over here.
Deputies move the parents to the living room. And when the officers walk inside the bedroom behind those boxes, they see 3 remaining children, including a boy shackled to his bed. Thick chains on his wrist. Another set of thick chains on his ankle. He's been this way for weeks. A deputy gently asks his name and starts looking for the keys to unlock him. Back in the bedroom down the hall, where the 2 girls from Jordan's photos sit quietly, the deputy is directed to go to the closet, and there on the floor, he finds the chains.
Okay.
Wow.
I found the missing link. All right, let's just go ahead and detain the parents.
Ma'am, why don't you step over here for a minute? Okay, with you. And sir, step over here for a second.
After decades of hunt to the parents' bedroom, a chaotic mountain of trash.
Even just those living conditions for children would be enough to like arrest parents, because that is not okay.
But as you look at this photo, is this a portrait of chaos or derangement? By the way, there's a child in a crib who smiles and waves at the strangers. The missing key is found in mother and father's dresser drawer. The last child rescued.
Just the sound of the chains, heavy duty chains.
I didn't know what was going to happen at all. The person in the car was like saying, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Like, you don't have to like watch or see. Like, he was really nice. He was really calming me down.
Deputies take all 13 children to the hospital. Children wasted by starvation with atrophied muscles, crushed by isolation and emotional abuse. Doctors and nurses give them food, clean rooms, clothes, kindness, love.
We were dehydrated, we were starving. They needed to do a lot of stuff to help us get healthy.
Do you remember the first things you ate there?
Yes, it was macaroni and cheese.
And enough of it.
Yes, it was good.
The Riverside County District Attorney's Office filed criminal charges against David and Louise Turpin. 12 counts torture, 7 counts abuse of a dependent adult, 6 counts child abuse, 12 counts of false imprisonment.
The Turpins sit in a courtroom, chains around their waists and feet.
I love that they are chained up. Oh, that is like karma. I love that. That is the universe. That is God, whatever you want to call it. To have those evil freaking people chained up the same way that they chained up those kids. Like, that is, I love seeing that. I love seeing that.
It is 4 days after their children have been freed. Louise Turpin's attorney is trying to get the case against her dismissed, arguing she's now been diagnosed with histrionic personality disorder, a kind of unstable, extreme narcissism.
Look at her eyes. Ugh, I don't like it. I just feel like they are just dead. They're just dead eyes.
She even writes that when she gets the family together again, she promises no chains this time. And her sisters say Louise may have been cracked by a truly horrible secret in their family. The trauma of ongoing sexual abuse since she was a child. But the judge rejects the mental illness plea, saying Louise Turpin poses a risk to the public. To this day, David Turpin has refused to talk to investigators.
When you have parents abusing their kids to this level, and they're their own flesh and blood, it begs the question, how could any sane person do this, right? And the truth of the matter is that sane people commit evil acts all the time.
Sometimes there is no why.
Absolutely. Sometimes there is no why. That is so true.
In my work, there's no reasoning, there's no logic to explain that type of behavior or why someone would actually do that, not only to anybody, but your own offspring.
Count 1, which is a violation of torture. How do you plead to that charge, sir?
Guilty.
And Mrs. Turpin?
Guilty.
Dependent adult abuse?
Guilty.
Child endangerment?
Guilty. Guilty. Guilty.
Why is she crying? You know what I mean? Why? If they hadn't been caught, they'd still be doing the same thing, you know? They just know, like, now they're going to be in jail. Now they're going to be chained up, locked up, the same way that their kids were by them. And they'll be beaten up by other prison mates, the same way that they beat up their kids and tortured their kids. And someone actually commented on my past video about this case that she actually got beaten up. So, I mean, what goes around comes around.
At the sentencing, the parents weep when a few of the children send notes saying they forgive them. But the two oldest children come to the courtroom to face their parents. The camera turned away to protect their identity. The eldest son speaks.
I cannot describe in words what we went through growing up, but that is the past and this is now. I'm getting a bachelor's degree in software engineering. In June of last year, I learned how to ride a bike. I also have learned how to advocate for myself, how to swim, how to eat healthy and prepare a balanced meal.
That young man is still not ready to go on camera, but he sent us a video. And next up in the courtroom, the oldest daughter speaks. It is Jennifer looking her parents in the eyes.
My parents took my whole life from me, but now I'm taking my life back.
Even her, she's the oldest, like Diane just said. And even like her voice, she sounds so young. Like she sounds like she's 13, 14 years old.
They almost changed me, but I realized what was happening. I immediately did what I could to not become like that. I'm strong, and I'm shooting through life like a rocket.
It's the parents' turn to speak. David Turpin starts, breaks down.
Your Honor.
All right. I love my children, and I believe my children love me.
He asks his lawyer to let him try again.
I miss all of my children, and I will be praying for them. I long for the opportunity to have contact with them again.
I want to say to you, Your Honor, and the court, I'm sorry for everything I've done to hurt my children.
Why is she apologizing to Your Honor and the court? She needs to address this letter to them.
I don't want any of them to be sad or depressed because of all of this. I want them to know that Mom and Dad are going to be okay.
Mom and Dad are going to be okay.
In the courtroom, when she said she was sorry for hurting her children?
I believed it, I'll be honest. But then I remembered that they both are extremely good at manipulation. Whether that was true or not at the courtroom, yeah, it's too late.
When they cry and stuff, I feel bad, but also it's like, why? It's just confusing. I don't know. I'm never gonna know. I mean, sometimes I think maybe they didn't have a good childhood, but it's still their choice. You always have a choice.
It's no excuse. Like, if you've had a bad childhood, wouldn't you try to, like, make your children's life easier and happier than what yours was?
I don't know what it's called, maybe bipolar. But I definitely think it could have been something like that with her. I've just always known him as a monster. That's the only way I can describe it.
Sentence will be the same as to both defendants. Both defendants are sentenced to life.
Can you imagine seeing them?
Definitely not anytime soon. I've been up and no, never. I guess I get afraid of them manipulating the system and getting out, and then somehow trying to find us. Yeah.
There's nothing you think you want to say to them?
I want to know why, but I would never get that answer.
So it's not...
It's just like 100 whys.
Tonight, we have requested statements from David and Louise Turpin. We have not heard back. They are currently serving their time in separate prisons in California. And 3 years ago, after their parents were sent to prison, we imagined the Turpin children.
Wouldn't you like write a statement or something to try to apologize even more to your kids or something? Like, they didn't even hear back. You know, if you were truly sorry, you'd be doing everything in your power to at least try and mend. Not that it would mend it, but try. But they have not even attempted since they were getting their sentence. And that to me shows that all they cared about was going to jail. They didn't want to go to jail.
Finally heading out into their new lives with a team of people who would ensure that they could navigate the world. Strangers had even donated money. So where is that money? And where is the team supposed to be helping them?
We've got to shine a light on this. The public deserves to know what their government did and didn't do and how we failed these victims. They need to know that.
District Attorney Mike Hestron says there are a number of agencies in California that should be accountable for what happened to the Turpin children after they were freed.
There are resources for them that they can't access. Well, they're living in squalor. They're living in crime-ridden neighborhoods. There's money for them for their education. They can't access it.
This is impossible.
What? I thought that you would think that the money would go directly to them, right? To build their future. Like...
Coming up next, my colleague David Scott and the ABC News Investigative Unit set out to get those answers.
I'm David Scott with the ABC News Investigative Unit. We needed to go to Riverside County to figure out who failed these kids after they escaped their parents and led the district attorney to take the unusual step of speaking out.
They have been victimized again by the system. And that is unimaginable to me, that we could have the very worst case of child abuse that I've ever seen, maybe one of the worst in California history, and that we would then not be able to get it together to give them basic needs, basic necessities.
It turns out the siblings' post-rescue lives have been marred by the county's missteps and mistakes. And the facts of the case have been hidden behind a court-ordered veil of secrecy.
Everything's, behind closed doors.
But now, for the first time, an insider peels back the curtain on what she says happened to the Turpin siblings after they entered the county's care.
They felt betrayed.
Tonight, Melissa Donaldson is breaking ranks to blow the whistle on the multiple agencies that she says failed to protect the Turpin children.
This is the thing about these types of cases. They go on to systems that are not helpful, that don't want to see them flourish and, live in better circumstances. They just get dropped into the system, and it's just this cycle, this weird process. And it's like, yeah, they've escaped from a horrific situation, but why put them into another really poor situation?
Did we see kids having to not have a safe place to live or stay at times? Yes. Did they have enough food at times? They did not. They had to go to churches and eat because they didn't know how to manage money, and some without housing at times.
Without housing?
At times.
Homeless?
Couch surfing.
Their housing, at some point, was located in one of the worst neighborhoods in this county.
I will tell you, I would have never placed anybody under my care there.
One of the adult children was assaulted. in one of those environments.
I do know they've been in unsafe crime exposure.
How much more do you want to put these kids through? They've already been through such traumatic situations. Not even situations, like they've already had a very traumatic life. And now you're putting them through a different type of trauma.
We really want to try and understand and help the public understand, you know, frankly, the jeopardy.
Sorry.
They all lack that sixth sense of fear. They had none of that, and they were cast right into the world in a very unsafe, violent inner city area.
We have to fix it. You would think that this is the time to really get it together and do everything we can, and we didn't do it that way.
They struggle to eat still. They'll take that as long as the abuser's gone.
I don't really have a way to get food right now.
When Jordan met Diane in July, she had just been released, she says without warning, from extended foster care, with no plan for food, health care, life skills training, or even shelter.
One of my brothers and me are the ones that don't have a place to really stay and we're just being like passed around.
And the same goes for some of the older children, whose safety and well-being was supposed to be guaranteed by the court-appointed Riverside Public Guardian.
Well, where I live is not the best area.
And this, despite more than $600,000 originally raised from generous strangers. Most of that money went into an official trust overseen by the court and hidden from public oversight. County officials refuse to tell us how much has been spent or on what.
I am genuinely disgusted by this information. I am genuinely mortified. I thought that their circumstances were a lot better. They look healthy. Like Jennifer looks, I think she looks still a little bit younger than 33, but she looks older. She looks nourished, and so does Jordan. I can't believe that there's been so much money donated and they're not allowed to have access from it. The system is so messed up. All it is, it's about money. It's never about the well-being, the proper well-being of these children.
The Turpins we spoke to say those funds are hard to access.
Why? Why are they hard to access? Why? Why did they make it so hard to access?
When I try to have access, I have difficulty.
Joshua Turpin, the 29-year-old sibling of Jordan and Jennifer, the one you heard earlier reading a letter to the court.
That is the past, and this is now.
Sent us a video diary, but did not want to appear on camera. He says the public guardian responsible for managing the siblings' health care, nutrition, housing, and education routinely denied simple requests.
When I requested for a mode of transportation, I called the public guardian's office and she refused to let me, request for a bike.
Melissa Donaldson confirmed that legitimate requests have been turned down. When we asked why officials are restricting the use of private donations, they repeatedly refused to answer, citing court-ordered confidentiality. I'm just asking really basic questions. You can't tell me any of that. After their rescue, the 7 minors were placed into foster homes, while the 6 adults were assigned to Deputy Public Guardian Vanessa Espinosa, seen here in a selfie when she started the job. While she worked full-time for the county, she also worked in real estate on the side, according to state records. Here, she is promoting her work at one of her previous real estate agencies.
If you guys are interested in buying or selling, feel free to contact us.
According to the adult Turpin children we spoke to, who were under Espinosa's care, she was often unwilling to help them with even their most basic needs, including teaching them how to use public transportation, how to cross the street safely, or how to access their medical and dental benefits.
Jail. She needs to be in jail too. Sorry, this type of person should not have a job in that because, real estate, that has money. So, she obviously doesn't truly care.
When I would ask her for help, she would just tell me, just go Google it.
Vanessa Espinosa did not respond to repeated requests for comment. Hi, Vanessa. It's David Scott calling from ABC News. How are you? We recently tried to meet up with her at her real estate office, but she avoided us and drove home. The next day, the county informed us without explanation that Espinosa's employment had ended. While Jennifer and the other adult Turpins struggled in county guardianship, some of their younger siblings were failed again by the California foster care agency contracted by the county, ChildNet. County officials have told us that some of the Turpin children have been re-victimized in their foster care homes.
In the instance of the one adult that was a minor and now an adult, she has reported the one foster parent telling her she understands now why her parents chained her up. The comment was egregious.
But even that paled in comparison to what is alleged to have happened in another of the Turpins' foster homes. In fact, one...
How can you say that to a child that has been through so much? That is evil. That is so evil.
One foster care family was arrested and charged with abusing multiple children in their care, including at least one Turpin. Several Turpin children remained in that house for 3 years while the alleged abuse took place. A lawyer for one of the foster family members says his client denies these charges are true. A ChildNet spokesman would not answer our questions about the Turpin case because of confidentiality laws, saying only, "We take our work very seriously, including the extensive vetting of parents." Experts who know the system are shocked.
It horrifies me to think things like this are happening to people who have been abused in a system that was specifically set up to help them.
No county.
It's like, why have these systems if it's not doing anything? These systems are designed to help, to provide aid, to provide education. Why have it but not use it to its actual abilities? I'm just baffled by this. I really am.
No county official agreed to answer for the alleged mishandling of the Turpins case, including the county's top lawyer, Gregory Priamos.
Oh, Mr. Priamos, David Scott from ABC News. Can I ask you, sir, about the dire conditions facing the Turpins' siblings in this county since they've been in the county's care? In some cases, they're walking the streets late at night. Sir?
So we took our questions to the county's top elected official.
Excuse me, Madam Chair. May I approach?
Board of Supervisors Chair Karen Spiegel, who dodged them.
We've heard credible reports of unsafe housing, of in some cases the siblings relying on food pantries and soup kitchens.
We are currently looking into this.
It's always we're currently looking into it, but it's never been looked into.
We have been trying to get these answers, and we have been unable to get anybody to return our calls. So we just figured that we'd come to you as the chairwoman.
Well, I am not have the information you're looking for. We're still in investigation stages, so I don't have anything to share with you.
In a statement, Espinosa's former boss, the head of the Public Guardian's Office, Dr. Matthew Chang, stood by his team's, quote, exceptional work, but said he welcomes an inquiry. But the county's chief executive admitted in a statement, quote, there have been instances in which those we seek to protect have been harmed, and the county is committed to conducting a thorough and transparent review. And so some of the Turpin siblings continue to face dangers and hardships in the county that promise to keep them safe.
Shamefully, the system failed this family.
We are not backing off. ABC News has sued to unseal vital documents about the people making decisions, the donated money, and who should provide the promised support. The 4 youngest children are now together in a foster home where their siblings say they are happy, while the other 9 older children, raised in abuse, valiantly navigate the world.
If we can't care for the Turpin victims, then how do we have a chance to care for anyone?
Coming up, that part.
Coming up, a reunion.
I'm never going to forget him. Anthony.
I cannot wait to see Jordan today.
I haven't seen him ever since the day he came to save me and my siblings.
21-year-old Jordan, now trying on blonde hair.
Oh my gosh, guys. We are here.
Is she driving?
I just hope she's happy. Jordan? Wow.
Oh
It's so good to see you.
It's so good to see you.
How you doing?
I'm okay. I always talk about you and stuff. I've told all my siblings the story more than once, and I'm just so thankful because you saved all of us.
So I'm glad you had that photo.
You get all the recognition and credit.
Oh, thank you.
You did the hard part, and you did the scary part.
I'm just so thankful that it was you because you were so gentle and everything.
I'm glad it was me, too.
I think God brought all the right people in my life. Thank you so much.
And not just Deputy Kalachi, but here is that dispatcher who answered the 911 call and sends a message tonight.
Hi, Jordan. You're really brave. You were so strong to go out and do what you did. I want to let you know that the world is so wide and so full of bright and wonderful things. And I hope you get to spend the rest of your days going out there and exploring and doing fun stuff and really living the life the way you want.
And back in the interview, we're almost done. So I invite the two young women who just finished their first interview ever to give their take on my technique.
So, Miss Jordan.
Yes, Jennifer.
What do you see in your future?
A beautiful house with a handsome husband. Maybe a kid someday. A nice car. Miss Jennifer, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
10 years.
What a big question.
But hopefully have a house.
Nice. Nice.
A nice car.
Oh,
and have a published book.
I love it. Love it.
Traveling. I want to travel the world.
Oh, really nice.
And where are you going to travel? What's the first stop?
Paris.
Yes?
Paris. I'm going to have little tea cakes and all that stuff. I'm going to a fashion show. Oh, yeah. I'm going to Paris.
Watch out, Paris.
Here I come.
Out of a harrowing life, so much hope. No one doubts along the way the mountains will be tall, the challenge is great, they'll need a helping hand. But every day, the young women who fought their way out are trying to catch up on joy.
How does it feel?
Jennifer is now in training to be a manager at a restaurant.
I made music work. A big dream of mine is to become a Christian pop artist.
Her favorite song right now is Kelly Clarkson's.
I want to help people with my music.
I really like doing TikToks. I like Charlie D'Amelio. They're such a cute family.
Jordan managed to graduate high school in 1 year and has been taking college classes. What was your favorite subject to study?
I loved government, and I loved English, and I loved math. I would say, can I have double homework? I love to learn, and I was a really fast learner, and I got good grades, and I was really happy.
She recently got food stamps and housing through school, and she has a plan of her own.
Me graduating college, being a book writer, or a motivation speaker. When I have kids, I want to make sure I'm in a good place, I have a good job, because I want to give my kids the best life ever.
In the meantime, the sisters say the most important thing in their lives is getting to see their siblings and trying to help them be happy and safe. What is it like to be together?
It feels at home, being with all of us. Every time we're together, it's a very special moment because we always know at the end of the day, we're always going to have each other.
And their brother, who sent the video, has a message too.
Thank you for your time. Thank you. Thank you for everything. This is a big help to be able to, just get this out and let it be heard.
I want the last name Turpin to be remembered as a name of strength. I don't want Jennifer Turpin, oh, that poor, 30-year-old woman who went through a tragic life. No, I want that name to be my name and her name, the Turpin name. Like, wow, they're strong. They're not weak. They're not broken. They've got this.
Wow, so that was it. It's bittersweet. In one instance, they've redefined that name Turpin, and she wants to be recognized as strength and turn that name into like a positive rather than a negative. But the system has failed them. Their parents failed them, and it's nice that they all have each other to turn to. But the system really failed them, and that is disappointing because up until the moment where they were rescued, it was great and they saw that glimmer of hope. And then it was kind of not really looked into after that. They were not looked into, and they just were chucked into the system. And this is a very, very broken system. And I think it's unfair that they've been treated like this, along with many, many other children that are just placed into this foster care system and, you know, placed into the hands of parents who don't really want to be foster parents. The system does need fixing, but in terms of, like, you know, Jennifer learning to be manager and Jordan doing great at school, I feel like they are going to individually and independently make their mark in this world. But that doesn't take away from the fact that the system should have really helped them. And that is really, really disappointing that this system is like this and that they went from one bad situation to another. It's unfortunate because I really thought that they were, you know, living their best life, but then you really see what's going on and it just like kind of breaks your heart all over again. But I hope they do get the help that they deserve. I know that ABC is doing quite a lot to help them as well. And I know that there are other people coming forward to help them. There is a link that you can go on in ABC News, which I'll put in the description, where you can help them if you want. And I'm going to check that link out myself. ABC did mention it at the end of this documentary or this interview. So I'm going to check that out myself and see in which ways I can help them. So thank you for watching, guys. This was very intense and a lot more that I've learned than my initial case. Thank you for watching, guys. Please let me know if you guys have any case suggestions down below. Let me know what you thought of this interview. Also, guys, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It will help me out so much. Please stay happy, guys. Please stay amazing. Please stay positive, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.